Welcome to Obstacle Running Adventures.
And then I saw on your Instagram page that you're a para-athlete. Do you mind sharing a little bit of your history with how you became a para-athlete and like the journey to where you are now?
Yeah, sure. At the age of 6 years old, I started to get really bad headaches. I was always very sporty, running around, very active. But then I just curl up in a ball and hold my head like there's a screaming pain inside my head. And the doctors didn't know what was wrong with me. And they just put it down to headaches and gave me medication, sent me on my way. But these headaches got worse and worse. And what they found was when they did a brain scan, they found I had a brain tumor that was shutting down my vital organs.
Oh my gosh.
And this operation needed to be operated on immediately, otherwise I wouldn't have survived. So I had this operation, and it was supposed to just be an operation to get rid of it, and then you go back to normal life again. But during the operation, I suffered a stroke, which means it paralyzed the whole of my left side of my body. So I can now only use my right arm and my right leg.
Oh my gosh.
The doctor said to my parents, unfortunately, Anthony, he'll never run and he'll never be very active ever again. And as a 6-year-old child, that's kind of like devastating. I was bedbound, wheelchair bound.
My goodness.
And all I wanted to do was run around and play games, but I was stuck in hospital, stuck in a wheelchair. So that was kind of soul destroying for me. But when you say to a child, you can't do this and you can't do that, children are very stubborn. And I was like, I'll show you. Yes, I can. And I kind of threw myself into doing everything. And I think my main passion was prove the doctors wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard. I had to relearn how to live life with one hand and one leg, and relearn how to walk again. And that's not what a 6-year-old should be doing. But I persisted with it and pushed myself into everything I could. And when I went to school, the teachers always kind of left me out because they didn't know how to deal with someone with disabilities. Mm-hmm. So I then stayed away from sport and PE and things like that. And it wasn't until secondary school we had a fitness test. And I just remember thinking, I can't come last. That would be too embarrassing. So we had to do a 12-minute run and see how far you get in 12 minutes. And I just did not want to come last. So I just kept running and running and running as hard as I could. And out of 30 able-bodied kids, I came like 15th.
Oh my gosh.
And my teacher was like, how did you do that? I was just like, I don't know, I just didn't want to come last. And he said to me, you should think about going into the Paralympics. But at then, I didn't even know what the Paralympics was.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, it's like the Olympics, but for people with disabilities. You'd be amazing. And because I was so self-conscious and embarrassed of my disability, my reaction was, that's something I definitely don't want to do. Why do I want to do a sport that shows off my disability?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, let me speak to your parents. He called my parents into the school. And the first thing he said was, get that boy in a running club. Just get that boy in a running club. And that was the start of my kind of getting into running things, really. I started off as a sprinter and started winning competitions, disability competitions. I went to my first ever disability race, and it's the first time I saw any other athlete with a disability, and there's people with one arm, one leg, people in wheelchairs,
Mm-hmm.
people who are blind, just going out and doing some incredible things. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. So I found a coach and I put in some extra training, and I started winning more and more medals. And in 2012, the Paralympics was held in London, and I managed to get to the trials for the Paralympics. And I finished 4th in the trials, which means I just missed out by 1 place.
Oh no.
But this was really ignited the fire inside of me, and I was like, I want more of this. I want to be more of this. It kind of encouraged me to train more and do more. Mm-hmm. So I went away and I joined a gym, did some extra training, trained twice a day. And my coach, we sat down with my coach, and she said to me, you're really, really quick speed, but you're slightly slower than the others off the start line because you can only use the one side. So why don't we try something a little bit longer distance? Why don't we try 800 meters or 1500 meters? And my reaction was, 1500 meters? I can't run that far. It's 1,000,000 miles. And she was like, give it a go, you never know. So I then moved to the middle distance group. And again, I was the only disabled one in this group. And I remember my first training session, you had to run a 400-meter lap, have a minute rest, and then do it 6 times.
Oh my gosh.
And I remember the girls in the group who were like 6 to like 7, 8 years old. They were half the size of me, but they were flying past me. And I was at the back and I was like, this is so embarrassing. But I just made sure I did the rep after rep. And when my coach said, how was that? I was like, awful. Even the little ones were flying past me. And she just said to me that something that humbled me. And she said, you can't expect to go in there and be the absolute best when you haven't even put the work in. They might be younger than you and smaller than you, but they've been training for years to put that fitness work in. And she said, give it a go for the next few months. And if you still hate it, you can always go back to doing sprinting. So I gave it a go, and it was right. After a few months, I started getting fitter, started getting stronger. What it was, I started to believe, actually, I can do this. And then I started keeping up with the others. And in 2015, I got selected for Team England at the Cerebral Palsy World Games, and I won gold in the 800 and the 1500.
Oh my gosh. Congratulations.
Yes. So my mindset changed from that moment on. I'd gone from thinking, I can't do that, to actually, yes, I can. And gone from being told, you'll never run or be very active, to now being a world champion.